Bonjour à tout le monde. Okay, we did the Passe Compose already. We did the Passe Compose with the verb avoir and the verb être. I did a presentation, I put it online. Now let's see what happens when the Passe Compose, and in this specific case we'll do Passe Compose with avoir, with the auxiliary avoir, which is to have. What happens when you have a COD with avoir in the Passe Compose? Let's see what that means. So we have a general rule in the with avoir in the passé composé does not agree in gender and number. So this is the example that I gave you. Louise a parlé. Look what happens. Louise is feminine, right? It's a feminine subject. A parlé means has spoken. Parler does not take the extra E just because Louise is feminine. Why? Because the general rule says that with avoir, the past participle, which is parler, I remind you, does not take the feminine, or the plural is the subject rule, so basically it doesn't agree with the subject. This is only with the verb avoir, because with the verb être instead, there is the accord, there is the agreement with the gender. So, having said that, we must say though that there are exceptions. So the rule changes when you have a pronom d'objet direct in front of the verb. So I made a presentation for the pronom d'objet direct. I hope by now you have watched it. If you didn't, go back and see it. And if you did watch it and you want some refreshment, you want to review it, just go back and watch it, because it's very important that you know what the pronouns are to understand this rule. So le pronom d'objet direct, again I put it in parentheses here, is le, la, elle, et les, and we know that they substitute the subject in a sentence when you don't want to repeat the same name or noun many times. I gave you in my previous presentation some examples. Here's the examples the example that I'm giving you in French. La pomme, which means the apple, je l'ai mangé. See what happens here. La pomme is the subject. Je, it's me. All of a sudden, not to repeat pomme, I put the pronom d'objet direct. L'ai mangé. I have eaten it. That L apostrophe be it. It's just that in French, that's where you place it. We did it in the presentation with the pronom d'objet direct. So I'm just refreshing and just reminding you how it works. But look at what I want to get to is, see, elle is the pronom d'objet direct, and it substitutes the pomme, which is apple. Pomme is feminine, so all of a sudden, look what happens. Manger, the participe passé, takes an extra E because it's feminine, and you have that little L apostrophe there. So all of a sudden now, the general rule gets it's substituted, and all of a sudden the participe passé, the past participle, agrees with the gender. So la pomme, je l'ai mangé, spelled with the second E. Okay? So that's your rule. Now, what happens avec les pronoms que? At this point, you should have done with your teacher in school, you should have done les pronoms que. If you did not do it, and if you're trying to learn the language by yourself, I would put a presentation also briefly on les pronoms qui et que. But que basically means that in English. So let's see an example to be more specific. La fille que j'ai vue. This sentence obviously means the girl that I have seen. So that que means that. So look what happens here. La fille is feminine, right? Que is the pronoun que, which means that. J'ai is the passé composé with the verb avoir, and all of a sudden, look, you add an E for the feminine because you have the pronoun que. Okay, so the girl that I have seen, la fille que j'ai vue, all of a sudden, the main rule that avoir does not take the agreement gets substituted here too, because you have the pronoun que. So look at this example, la fille que j'ai vue. Okay, you add an E at the end. This is with the pronoun que.